Before we start with the music, introduce yourselves.
Hi, my name is Ben Gibbard. I'm in the band Death Cab for Cutie.
I'm Dave Depper. I am also in the band Death Cab for Cutie.
How are we feeling?
I'm ready to fail at this.
I'm ready to win this thing.
Yes!
I'm taking it all the way.
Dave is going to win. I feel like if we're keeping score, I think Dave's going to win.
We'll see.
You guys, there's two of you, so you'll go back and forth and you can help each other. So hopefully
Okay.
the extra brain power is productive.
Okay, sounds
All right.
good.
Who
Okay,
wants to
sounds-
go first?
I'll go first. Let's just dive in here.
Yesterday I got so old.
The Cure,
Yes.
In Between Days.
Yes.
Immediately. Just
Come on.
Just from the drums. We're in, Head on the Door, arguably the greatest Cure record ever made. Disintegration is my favorite record because it's the first one I heard. We all have this thing with our favorite bands. It's the moment you were introduced to a band. Whatever that record is, it will always be your favorite. But I think if I had to go pound for pound, I think I would say that Head on the Door is the best Cure record.
I'm a Disintegration guy myself, but I have the utmost respect for Head on the Door.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Disintegration is like the magnum opus.
Totally.
But I think that Head on the Door is this interesting record that kind of bridges the early kind of more minimal synthy goth stuff,
Yeah,
like Faith
absolutely.
and Pornography and like that, with, kind of how they moved in a little bit more of like a pop direction in a good way.
Yeah, it's the ultimate expression of early Cure, like in its most realized form.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Obviously a hugely influential band for you.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I was saying yesterday that Disintegration is a masterclass in musical arrangement. If you listen to the song Lullaby, by the end of the song, there seem to be 4 or 5 different counter melodies that are all stacked on top of each other at the end of that song. And it just feels like it's about to tip over under its own weight, but somehow everything is audible, everything has a lane. It's a record and a band that I go back to constantly. And it's been a band that's been a huge influence on us as far as how to build a career. I think that The Cure does a great job of serving their fan base, the nostalgia that they enjoy. I saw them play their first 3 records in one show in 2012 at Royal Albert Hall, where they played the B-sides and everything. And they did the same thing with Disintegration at a certain point, and also the new record is arguably one of the best records they've ever made. And I would rather have waited 15 years or whatever for a new Cure record to have it be that good. Love Robert Smith, love The Cure, constant source of inspiration.
And I can't wait to hear him sing backing vocals on the new Rolling Stones record.
I seem to recognize your face.
Oh, Elderly Woman Behind the Counter of a Small Town by Pearl Jam. Yeah, God, a definitive band for both of us, I would
Yeah.
assume. I think that came out when I was a sophomore in high school.
Uh-huh.
Incredible record. I mean, a classic Seattle band, iconic songwriting, sort of the platonic ideal of like the 5-piece, 2-guitar, bass drums, frontman band. I don't know. It's hard to know what to say about Pearl Jam. Just the ethos.
Yeah. I mean,
Rock solid.
We toured with them in 2004. We were opening for them on a tour called the Vote for Change tour, where we were going to remove Bush from office.
Yeah.
We didn't, sadly. It took more than some people playing rock songs to do that. But they were so unbelievably welcoming and gracious to us. We were 27, 28 years old at that time, and they let us fly with them on their plane, which is none of us had ever been on a private jet at that point, and haven't since.
PJ's PJ?
PJ's PJ. And they were just incredibly open with us and welcoming. And at some point, I remember after watching them interact with each other, watching them talk about why they were doing the things they were doing, why they were making the set list they were making, politics, all these kind of things. I remember Chris Walla turned to me and said, this is how you do it. This is what we need to do. And it was this really definitive moment in our band's career where we felt like we truly had something to model ourselves off. And, Pearl Jam is unbelievably beloved in Seattle. I saw them for the first time at the Drop in the Park show. It was a free show they put on in 1992. I was crying my eyes out. I couldn't believe that they were in front of me. So to tour with them and to know some of them to a certain extent, to be friendly with them, be acquaintances with them is, it's one of those moments you pinch yourself and, to quote Jerry Seinfeld talking about someone who will remain nameless, I can't believe that life is long enough to know these people. It's just really incredible.
It's cool to hear about rock stars being so generous,
They are
Goes against the stereotype.
golden humans in that band.
I'd like to think that that's a real part of the ethos of the region where we come from.
Yeah.
The worst thing you can be called in Seattle is a rock star. As we started to kind of become a little more successful, my number one priority was that when I came back home from Seattle, no matter how much success we had garnered in the time away, that we would come back and just be the same people we were before.
2 for 2.
Oh, Modest Mouse Heart Cooks Brain.
Yep.
What? Yeah, immediately. This might be a good place to throw this theory out.
Hit
this
us.
take. It is my belief, I've been talking to Dave and the other guys in the band about this, I believe that the Lonesome Crowded West, which is the record from that song comes from, is the greatest Northwest record ever made.
Here to hear first.
And I'm saying that, I'm putting it over Nevermind, I'm putting it over 10, not to diss those records, Bad Motorfinger, any of those records. And the reason I believe that is because I think on that record, Modest Mouse and specifically Isaac Brock embodies what it means to be from the Northwest more than any other album. And musically, you can hear that in just kind of the sprawling messiness of some of the longer kind of jams. There's moments that are very violent and kind of jagged, and there are these moments that are incredibly beautiful and pensive. And the characters in that record, like in something like Cowboy Dan, you know, where he says something like, I didn't move to the city moved to me.
Didn't move to the city moved to me, and I want out desperately.
The way he kind of writes about gentrification and the spread, the sprawl of Seattle and, you know, the urban centers in the Northwest, the way he kind of places a lot of those songs and the characters in those songs, I think is just so quintessentially Northwest and is such a perfect encapsulation of what the Northwest was like in the mid-late 90s when it was starting to really kind of expand and blow up thanks to like the tech boom. You know, I was driving around not that long ago listening to the Lonesome Crowded West and just realizing like, I don't think there's a better record that's ever been made in this region.
Bars.
Yeah, bars.
Boom.
This is a hard one.
This is a really hard
This
one.
is a hard one.
I know the song is called Such Great Heights, but FedEx? Is that the band name?
It's by the Human League, right?
Yes.
By the
yeah,
Human League.
Yeah, I think it's a like incredible song from 1983.
Yeah,
Postal Service, Such Great Heights, ultimate banger. I don't know. Song rules. You wrote it. It's great.
Jimmy and I wrote it. Like,
Yeah,
I can only take
Jimmy
credit
and you
for half
wrote
of it.
it.
Yeah.
I will just say, having had the incredible honor to play in the live version of the Postal Service a couple of years ago, that playing that song was just such a joy every night. And it's a funny thing. So we did the double Transatlanticism Give Up anniversary tour. And most concerts in a normal tour have a prescribed format where, you know, there's an encore where you play the big hits. You might start the show with a couple new songs, ease in the crowd. There's an element of surprise throughout the night. You don't know what songs are going to happen, and the crowd gets very excited when they hear a new hit. When you play albums in a row in order like that, often the biggest hit is like the second or third song of the night, and Such Great Heights would be the second song that we played. And it was such an odd thing to like barely be in the flow of the show and have your adrenaline still kind of like putting you in an uncertain place and just having like, you know, I don't know if that's the biggest hit you've ever written.
We should check Spotify. I mean, if we're talking streams, we should probably look at Spotify.
Yeah, I don't know.
My
but-
friend Colin was on this show, and he was at that show.
Yeah.
Around the same time, and he was like, I was crying. It was like the greatest show.
Oh, man.
Like, I had such a good time. So shout out Colin and shout out you guys. I love seeing shows where it's an album.
It's fun.
played.
It's just
like-
different.
it's just
Yeah.
a different vibe, but it's awesome. It's like similar to the experience of listening at home, but it's different.
Well, as a fan, you know what you're going to
Yeah.
get.
Yeah.
Like, and in what order. I went and saw Liz Phair do Exile in Guyville not that long ago. I love that record so much, and you can feel the anticipation building when you're about to arrive at a hit or a fan favorite. And I think that oftentimes we go to shows and we're like, oh, we're going to see this band. I hope they play that song from the third record. And your friend's like, well, I don't know if they're going to play that. I looked at Setlist FM. They haven't been playing it. Well, maybe they'll play it tonight. And, you know, doing the album plays, it's just a wonderful way to re-interface with an album that you love. I do think that one of the funniest things I saw written about that tour that kind of went around social media was that we were playing these shows at the Hollywood Bowl and somebody had posted something like, babysitters of the greater Los Angeles area, this is your Super Bowl. Like, it seemed as if it was for a lot of millennial people with small
There's
children.
surge pricing on
Oh my God,
babysitters.
Yeah, whoa.
Get what you can, you know.
$60 an hour.
All right. I had to throw that one.
No, good play.
Portions for Foxes, Rilo Kiley. You know, Jenny has been one of my best friends for over 25 years, and she's a bona fide star. She's one of the greatest songwriters of her generation. And, you know, I got to see Rilo Kiley a couple times on this reunion tour. I opened for them at Red Rocks, and then I went to the show in Seattle. And, you know, when you know the behind the scenes of any band's kind of personal interactions, I'm not going to say anything about that here. I'm not going to spill any tea. I was watching Rilo Kiley play all these songs that had been clearly really important markers of time in a lot of specifically young women's lives who were at that show. And it was just incredible to see these like groups of friends just, you know, the same way that we would be at a Guided by Voices show or something like that, right? And they're just like arms around each other and singing. And when they played Portion for Foxes, that was one of those moments where everybody in the crowd just seemed to kind of lock into it and sing along with it. And it was just absolutely wonderful.
It's not possible to write a better song than that. Just a perfectly executed pop song.
Every time
Oh, New Order.
Yes.
Yeah. Bizarre Love Triangle?
Yes.
Okay. One of the greatest bands of the 1980s.
And today.
Yeah, just perfect bridge band between post-punk and 80s synth-driven aesthetics.
I feel like-
Incredible songwriters.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that specifically Peter Hook's bass playing has been a huge influence on me, and I think also on Nick Harmer, our bass player. I guess I was alive when some of these New Order records were coming out, and I was listening to some of the songs on the radio when I was a little kid, 8, 9, 10 years old. So I do remember them. Although I wouldn't say I was like into New Order when I was 10. I'm not that cool.
I was.
Well, when I became a musician and started really kind of digging back into the records that I love, New Order was one of those bands that I really locked into, and I really took a lot of inspiration from how Peter Hook used the bass as a melodic instrument. I mean, for a lot of people before Peter Hook, at least in kind of the general rock and roll genre, bass was just holding down the low end. It was never up in the high register being used as a melodic instrument.
Very interesting use of drum machines combined with real drums, and then just flawless songwriting.
Yeah, I mean, incredible songwriting. In Circles, Sunny Day Real Estate.
Woo! Every song so far, it's within 2 seconds.
Wow.
In February of 1994, I was going to see a band that I liked called Popsicle, which was fronted by one of the singer-songwriters of a band called Coffin Break that I was a huge fan of. They put some records out on Epitaph in the early 90s. Rob Skinner, this particular singer and songwriter, had gone to our high school like 10 years before, Olympic High School in Bremerton. So he was our hero. We figured if he could get out of Bremerton, we too could get out of Bremerton. So we went to the OK Hotel, which is this all-ages venue in Seattle, to see Popsicle. And the band in the middle was taking for ever to set up, and like one of their amps was broken or some shit, and they were just going around talking to people in bands, and I'm like 17. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm looking at my watch. I gotta get out of here. I'm not gonna see Popsicle. These fuckers are taking forever to set up. I don't know what the fuck is wrong here. And then they get up on stage and they go into that song, and it's Sunny Day Real Estate, and I immediately just clicked into this, like, my life just changed. The record wasn't out yet. Diary didn't come out for another 3 or 4 months, I believe. But there were people from the East Side who knew them, who were there and knew the songs. And I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. There was one of those moments in my life, I haven't had a lot of them, where I went into something completely cold. The experience just utterly changed how I listen to music. A lightning bolt moment, yeah, for sure. I know you guys had the Foo Fighters on a couple days ago. You know, we know Nate and those guys, and like whenever I'm hanging out with Nate, I have these moments where like, that guy's in fucking Sunny Day Real Estate. Like,
did you tell him the story?
I've told him that story. Yeah, I've told him that story. Yeah, and I feel it's important as a music fan that when you get a chance to talk to people whose music was really important to you, that you tell them, and you can do it in a way that's not sycophantic. It's just a way of saying like, hey man, you're a big reason as to why I'm here, and thank you. Then you start asking all the nerdy questions, like, so when you guys were recording Diary, and you're with Brad Wood, of course. You're kind of, you can do that too. I haven't laid it into Nate quite yet, so maybe I'll have another opportunity.
Oh, Built to Spill.
Built to Spill.
Does that carry the zero? No.
Yeah.
It is. Okay. Both of our favorite bands. Immense influence on you, certainly coming up as a songwriter and a guitar player, I would assume.
Oh, yeah. Our first album is we were basically a Built to Spill cover band on Something About Airplanes.
We were rehearsing Champagne from a Paper Cup the other day, and I was just like, man, this is the greatest Built to Spill tribute song I've ever.
Oh, 100%.
It's so good.
Amputations, that might as well be on There's Nothing Wrong with Love. When I was a teenager, I remember driving home from where I was going, the local show on KNDD, which was our alternative station in Seattle. This is like 1992. We relied on the local show to find out about things that were like punk or underneath the surface of commercial alternative music. And I remember they played a song by a band called Tree People. The song was Liquid Boy. Tree People was the band that Doug Marsh was in before Built to Spill. And I remember hearing Liquid Boy on the radio. Scott Smalljohn and Doug Marsh's guitars just weave through each other in this really interesting way. And it was another one of those lightning bolt moments. And then when Doug starts singing, I was drawn to his voice because I too had this like reedy, small voice. I didn't know if I wanted to be the singer in the band, but I didn't think I could be the singer in the band because I didn't have a rock and roll voice. I mean, if you think it's 1992, what are the voices that you're hearing on the radio in 1992? Some of the greatest voices ever. It's Ed and Kurt and Chris Cornell and people such as that. And I just assumed like, well, I'm not really a powerful singer, and you need to be a powerful singer to be in a band. Mark Arm,
Yeah.
But hearing Tree People and then the first Built to Spill record, which came out, I think 93, I believe. I felt as if like I could do it. I can just be myself. I can sing with the voice I naturally have. And it seems to have worked.
I just got to shout out Doug Marsh's ability to solo for 10 minutes at a time. And you don't get bored for a second of it. I could listen to that man play for hours and hours. We had the incredible honor of having them open maybe a week of shows some years back. And when you have a band opening for you every night before the show, some nights you watch a few songs, sometimes you don't have time, you're getting in the mindset of the show, whatever. And I had to watch every second of their opening set each night because I just had to see what he was going to do that night on the guitar.
Strange Powers, Magnetic Fields.
Ooh, yeah.
Maybe you chose this because I have covered this song. Recently there was this New York Times piece about the 30 or so greatest living American songwriters. A very odd series of qualifiers. Like, I thought it was a pretty good list. There's some people I disagreed with vehemently, which we won't go into right now, but
Spill the tea!
No tea spilling tonight. But I found the inclusion of Stephen Merritt to be well deserved. And I've often said that I would not be here without Stephen Merritt's work. He's one of the most interesting people I've ever known. I like all the work, but I particularly like those mid-90s kind of techno-y records like Holiday and Get Lost. Get Lost was the first record I heard by them. I think on the back of the record it says something like 12 songs from the worst year of my life. And it's like, well, I got to find out what's on this record.
Oh, Teenage Fanclub, What You Do to Me.
Oh my God.
I feel like you're better talking about Teenage Fanclub than I am.
Oh, well, maybe. Teenage Fanclub is my favorite band. Yeah. The first record I heard from them was Bandwagon-esque, which has the song What You Do to Me. And, at the time, I was a kid that, I put on the punk rock jacket, but it didn't quite fit. It was just a little boxy in places, and the arms weren't long enough. I felt awkward when I went outside wearing it. The music that was on when I was a kid was, Beatles, Badfinger, Birds, stuff like that. My dad's record collection. Hearing Bandwagon-esque, I felt like I'd finally found my band. It was noisy, and Raymond's guitar playing is just dive bomby and dissonant in places, but the songs had this distorted kind of gnarliness to them, but also the harmonies were so beautiful. Just a couple weeks ago I did a talk with Norman in London, with Norman Blake, and they've also played some shows with us, which has blown my fucking mind.
And you've sat in with them.
I've sat in with them a couple times. Actually, I have two regrets in my career. One was we were unable to open for Fugazi in 2001. Regret number two is in 2017, I get an email from Norman from Teenage Fanclub, and he says, hey, our auxiliary member also plays in Belle and Sebastian. He can't make this 2-week run that we're doing in the States. Would you like to be in Teenage Fanclub for a couple weeks? And I'm like, my head is exploding. And he says, here are the dates. And I scroll down. And I kid you not, they were the only 2 weeks of the fucking year that Death Cab was doing shows. The only 2 weeks of the year.
We would have understood if you had to cancel.
I don't think you would, Dave.
Solved the band.
Understood.
And I was like, oh my God, Norman, thank you so much for asking. We're playing shows at the same time, but I still have a friend, but his name's Michael Lerner. He has a band called Telekinesis. And I said, I can't do it, but Michael would probably be great. You should talk to Michael. And he's like, oh, I'll talk to Michael. And Michael ended up doing it. The fact that I was asked to do it was one of the greatest honors of my life. The fact that I couldn't do it was one of the greatest regrets of my life. But the fact that I was able to kind of help Michael get that gig, it meant the world to him. All's well that ends well, I suppose.
Paying it forward. Ben also did a full album cover of Bandwagon-esque a few years ago that is pretty sick.
It is what it is.
Yeah, y'all check it out.
Dave, go. Take the. I know this. I can't think of it though. Oh my God.
Oh, orange juice.
Orange juice. Okay.
So good. I love
I was
orange
like,
juice.
oh, I almost said orange juice. I almost said it.
Yeah. Sometimes my favorite Scottish band of all time. So funky, so catchy, an iconic, goofy, warm, gooey voice. I don't know, their music is just like a joy machine for me. I adore that band. I think their first 3 albums are just perfect post-punk in like the friendliest way. They weren't like a definitive band for me growing up. I kind of came to them later, I think because Stuart Murdoch of Belle and Sebastian was hyping them up all the time. But man, once I discovered them, I never looked back.
Well done.
That was fun.
That was really fun.
Yeah.
I'm on my way to God don't know. My brain's the burger and my heart's the core.